In 3, 2, 1. What's up, y'all? It's your man, Stephen Bartle, coming at you with another edition of Bartle's Breakdown. I'm your host, and I've got a special guest on today, Nick Brooks, on the Rutgers men's basketball team. Got a college athlete with us, so I'm looking forward to this. We don't typically get a chance to get college-level athletes, especially at the level of Rutgers, on our show, so I'm very pleased. Nick, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing good, my man. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for joining us. I really appreciate you taking the time.
Anytime, anytime.
Yeah. So first off, man, how are you doing? We were talking before we went on, and Rutgers you guys are in shut-in mode. How's it going? What's the scene like out there in Rutgers?
Well, it's pretty quiet, man. It's like a ghost town. And for me and my teammates, it's not really that big a deal for us since we spent so much time in school over the summer and over winter break. We're kind of used to being the only ones on campus, but it's a little bit different now considering what's going on around the world and the fact that they're kind of pushing us out of, housing on campus too. Normally, we're the ones who are allowed to stay. We have to stay on campus while everybody else goes home. And now that this is all going on, they're telling us that we got to get out too. So most of my teammates are home. There's still a few of us at school, but most of us went home after the Big Ten tournament.
Okay, and so Nick, are you still on campus right now?
I'm not. I live fairly close to Rutgers. I live in Franklin Park.
Okay.
And Rutgers is in Piscataway. So my front door to the front door of the RAC is about a 20-minute drive. It's kind of convenient if you ask me.
That's crazy convenient, especially with the traffic the way it is out there sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good, man. So have you been talking to your teammates at all about during this process, and what are some of the things you guys are doing to keep them going crazy?
We obviously we all have our group chats, and we check in with each other every now and then, but I don't think anybody's lost their mind yet just being inside. Our strength coach, Dave Van Dyke, he gave us some stuff to do inside, to stay in shape and, kind of maintain, the strength that we would be doing right now during the spring if we weren't still playing. But I think everybody's doing all right. We're trying to keep ourselves busy. Guys are spending a lot more time on social media, and I don't really know how Coach Pikel feels about that because he preaches us to stay off of our phones. But during a time like this, we really don't have much of a choice.
No, I can see that. And, I can understand Coach Pikel, but I like the fact that you guys have a little bit more freedom to express yourselves. I've covered you guys enough. You're a smart bunch. I don't think we have anything to worry about. Ladies and gentlemen, for those that don't know, Nick Brooks approached me at a game at Rutgers and told me he was interested in going into the business. And this is one of the reasons why I wanted to bring him on, because I like to reward young people who take some initiative. And, to come up to me, Nick didn't know me. He knew who I was, but he didn't know me. But for him to have the initiative to come up and introduce himself, speak in the manner, he looked me in his eye, he really impressed me when we met. So I wanted to get him, show him off, so to speak, get him an opportunity to come on here and kind of show him a little bit about what I do off the television side. So Nick, you are 20 minutes from Rutgers campus. How did you first get exposed to the game of basketball?
I've been playing the game of basketball, man, since I was probably about 5 years old. My dad kind of introduced me to it at first, and then I just took it and ran with it. My father, it sounds kind of cliche, but my dad put the ball in my hands and I just ran with it. Like, I kind of said, all right, Dad, like, I don't need you anymore. Like, I got it. But I've been playing basketball since I was 5 years old. I'm 22 now. I'll be 23 in September. And the game has been good to me, man. Obviously, I've dealt with a lot of trials and tribulations. I've dealt with a lot of disappointment. I've dealt with a lot of good fortune. I've gotten to see all types of places around the world because of basketball. I've gotten to meet a bunch of wonderful people, build a whole bunch of lifelong lasting relationships. So the game's been good to me, man. I think that, this will be my last year coming up at Rutgers. I'll be a senior next year. And, it'll kind of be like my Dwayne Wade farewell tour. So, but yeah, basketball's been good to me. It's going to be out, regardless of whether I decide to stay in the game or not, in some way, shape, or form. I'm always going to be thankful for being able to play the game at a high level like I have been, I wouldn't have it any other way.
I hear you on that. So you growing up in New Jersey, man, you played against some tough dudes. I think Kyrie Irving was one of them. Did you play against Kyrie?
I have seen Kyrie, and I was lined up against Kyrie one time. I was actually 12, and he was 17. It was at we were playing at an open gym in East Orange, New Jersey. That's where he's from, or West Orange. I'm sorry.
Okay.
And it was before it was a year before he had left St. Pat's to go play for Duke. And Kyrie was like my hero in middle school, because that was before anybody really knew who he was. Like, if you weren't from Jersey, you probably didn't really know who Kyrie was at that point, when he was like a junior and senior in high school. And he was exceptional. Like, just the way that, you know, he dominated the high school game. Like, I had never seen anything like it. But I never really thought that, like, nobody could have ever predicted like this type of superstar status that he has achieved. I knew he was good, but like in the back of my head, I would look at my dad and I'd be like, Dad, I mean, like, is he gonna go to the league? Like, I don't know. Like, there's a lot of good players out there. And then he ended up being the #1 pick in the draft, and then the rest is history.
That's pretty cool right there, man. And so I'm reading here where you spent 2 years at the Vermont Academy, and you played with some dudes, man. Bruce Brown, Miami, Tyreek Jones, Xavier, and Patrick Fisher, Winthrop. Can you talk about that experience a little bit?
Yeah, man. Vermont Academy is a basketball factory in a sense. I don't want to say it that way, because people ask me about Vermont Academy a lot, and they think that I didn't have to go to class. I had to go to class. It's not one of those schools. It's not
Okay.
one of those schools where like the team is just the school, and then like we attend online school at like some community college. Like, no, it didn't work that way at all. I lived on campus. Um, I had to go to class every day. Like, if you did not go to class, you were in big trouble.
Mm.
We had workouts every day at 6 a.m. or open gyms.
Wow.
And there was a lot of coaches who came through from Vermont Academy to see me and the rest of my teammates. All types of big time college programs came all the way up to a small town called Saxons River in Vermont, just to see me and my teammates play pickup at 6 o'clock in the morning. It was mind boggling to me. Like, I was like, don't you guys have anything better to do at 6 o'clock in the morning on a Tuesday? I think we used to do it on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So like, you guys have nothing better to do on a Tuesday and Thursday morning than to come watch us play basketball. But yeah, Vermont Academy was a special experience. One thing I would say that I appreciated about it is that it got me ready to go to college. One of the reasons why I decided to go and leave New Jersey and go do 2 years of school in Vermont was because I felt that I really wasn't mature enough to go to college at that point in time. So when I went to Vermont, it taught me how to be on my own and be like away from my parents and my family and my friends, and basically like learn how to survive, because it's like any other prep school, man. Like, people complain about the food. There wasn't much to eat up there. Like, it was disgusting, but you had to make it work. So it kind of toughened me up a little bit, taught me how to rough it. But I played with some dudes up there, man. We had a really good team. Like, I argue with my teammates at Rutgers all the time, like, your high school team would not be able to touch my high school team. Like, guys who try to like test like my theory, I'll be like, look, I didn't start. So like, that's how like let's put it that way. I was probably like 6 or 7 man off the bench. So that's how good that we were.
Okay.
And people will like go on YouTube and watch the videos, and then obviously they see like guys play on TV, and I'm like, yeah, he was on my team. They're like, oh, he was on your team? Like, yeah, man. Like, we produced some dudes. Like, if you ever go on Vermont Academy's website, you'll literally see like all the guys who played at the school and then went to high major or went to get a Division I scholarship. So we definitely had some dudes at Vermont Academy, man. We felt that we were the best team in New England at that time.
You're watching Bartle's Breakdown. I got my host, Rutgers basketball player Nick Brooks, on with me today. And so, Nick, I heard you say something that's kind of interesting. You said that you made a decision that you needed to go somewhere to get away from your family and whatnot to mature. How are you so self-aware at such a young age?
It really just involves looking at yourself in the mirror and like admitting that you need to be better in a certain way, shape, or form. I think that it takes a lot for somebody to admit, like, all right, I need to be better at this. And I learned that at a young age. I learned that you're not entitled to anything in this world. This world doesn't owe you anything. And I think a lot of people fail to realize that. I think the sooner that people can realize that at a younger age, the better off you'll be in life. So when I realized that I wasn't entitled to, for example, like a scholarship offer, or, I wasn't entitled to this internship or this spot on Rutgers basketball. Like, I wasn't entitled to anything. It's funny how, stuff comes to you when you're willing to work for it and you don't expect stuff to be given to you just because you're you. So it takes a lot to do it. I obviously wasn't born that way, but once I mastered it, it was kind of funny how stuff in my life began to shift for the better.
I love it, man. That's well said. Well said. So you leave Vermont Academy, and then you go to West Virginia Wesleyan. Can you talk about that experience a little bit?
Yeah. So when I was at Vermont Academy, my junior year, I had 15 Division I scholarship offers, and I tore the labrum in my left shoulder, and I had to have arthroscopic surgery to fix it. When I came back to school, I decided to do the surgery right after AAU live period had ended. So that was like towards the end of July, August. I got the surgery, and then I had to go back to school in June for my senior year. But I couldn't play. I had to sit out for 3 months. So once I had gotten the surgery, all the coaches that had started recruiting me were like, they just wouldn't answer the phone. Or like my coach would try to, get them on the line to talk to me or come see me once I had, I was cleared to play. And like, they had either like signed another point guard, or they had decided they were going to go in a different direction, or didn't want to take a chance on me because I had, a surgery I was 17, 18 years old. They didn't think I was going to be like a pseudo Grant Hill story or something like that. I don't know what their thought process was, but yeah, I had basically lost all my scholarships and all the recruitment that I had built up from playing the last 3 years of high school basketball. And that took a toll on me, man. I definitely, because, obviously basketball was my whole life at that point.
Right.
And I didn't really know how to handle it. And plus the fact that I was like hours and hours away from home, because New Jersey is 4.5, 5 hours away from Vermont. So it wasn't like I could just run home and, talk to my mom and dad about it. Like, nah, that wasn't happening either.
Okay.
I remember I used to call my mom like every night, and just like, I would just cry, like, Mom, like, why is this happening to me? And my mom used to always tell me God gives his strongest battles to his toughest soldiers. And that's something that I live by today. Like, I feel like, you wouldn't have this obstacle in front of you if you couldn't handle it. So I got through it. And then at the 11th hour, obviously every high school basketball player's dream is to play Division I basketball and play in a tournament and do that. At the 11th hour of my senior year, I still had no type of recruitment whatsoever. And it's funny because my options were, I was either going to try to walk on at Rutgers with Coach Feichel after my senior year and just go there as a freshman, or I had one scholarship offer from this Division II school in West Virginia called West Virginia Wesleyan. A guy by the name of Jack Merriweather was the assistant coach there at the time, and he was really, really persistent with recruiting me. I felt like I had developed a relationship with him, even though in the back of my mind I was kind of thinking, oh, I don't know if I want to go there. It's Division II school. But I ended up taking a visit. Me and my mom flew out there and saw the school. And one thing I will say about West Virginia Wesleyan that I appreciate is the people out there are really, really nice. Like, it really, really embodied the meaning of Southern hospitality. Everybody out there was so like loving and nurturing and taking care of each other. And that made me feel comfortable, man. So I called my mom and I told her, I was like, I think I want to go here. And she was like, are you sure? And I was like, yeah, just because of the the way I had interacted with other people on my visit. And I think,
Sure.
I could be successful here. So my freshman year there, my coach had actually gotten fired at the end of the year, and the assistant coach who was recruiting me at the time ended up getting the head coaching job for my sophomore year, because I was actually thinking about leaving at the end of my freshman year because I had torn my meniscus in my left knee after my senior year of high school. So when I had committed to go there, I had got my high school diploma. I walked across the stage and all that. I left Vermont Academy, said goodbye to them. I came home. I was working out in the gym with my uncle George Briscoe, God rest his soul. And he had me doing in and out crossovers, and I had planted with my left leg and I tore my meniscus. I just fell down in the gym. It was just me and him. And I fell down, and I went to the doctor, and they did an MRI on my knee, and I had torn my meniscus. So the whole summer I was home just sitting there rehabbing. I was getting fat. I couldn't work out. I couldn't run. I couldn't shoot. I couldn't do anything. So when I had got to West Virginia in August, like, I was all out of shape. And looking back on, I probably should have just redshirted and just sat out the whole year, because I was not myself or anywhere near close to myself until about a year after I had gotten hurt. But
Oh
I
man.
wanted to play. So I was like pushing the envelope, trying to rehab my ass off to get back to play. And right when the season started, that did not work out for me very well. I ended up coming back way too early, and my knee was kind of so, I would miss games at a time. I couldn't run. I couldn't shoot. So my freshman year kind of went by the wayside, and then my coach ended up getting fired, and then the assistant coach took over for my sophomore year. And I think that the fact that I had made a decision to go there because of how comfortable I was on my visit,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time, man, me being from New Jersey, I'm kind of like, I don't want to call myself a city kid, but because I live an hour away from New York and an hour away from Philly, and there's always like, I never living in New Jersey, like, I've never felt like there's nothing to do.
Right.
When you live in West Virginia, there's a lot of times where, like, coming from somewhere else, like, you might find it like, wow, there's really nothing to do but for me to sit in my room or go work out. So I had sat down with my mom, and I told her, I was like, Mom, I've been away from home now for 4 years. I did 2 years in Vermont. I've done 2 years in West Virginia. Um, and it's not like I'm in a glamorous place like Los Angeles or Miami or something like that. With all due respect to, the great state of West Virginia, the people were great there. But I told her, I was like, Mom, I think that, I might want to leave and, go to school closer to the house. And she goes, well, why don't you check out Rutgers? And I'll never forget this. There's on my school's college ave campus, it's called the Honors College, and there's like a porch on the back of the building that basically like overlooks the city of New Brunswick. Is beautiful. And I was out there one time over the summer, and it was like 75 degrees. It was beautiful, and all the students were outside, and I was like, wow, like, this is where I need to be at. It sounds kind of cliche, like out of a movie scene, but like, every time I go over there, like, and I stand over there, like, I remember, like, this is like where I decided like I needed to be here. So me and my mom had sat down, and we had made the decision that I was going to come home and go to school closer to the house. And I told her I had wanted to go to Rutgers, and my mom has a lot of friends that work for the university too. So she
Okay.
wasn't really worried about like people not looking out for me within the institution. And she asked me, do you want to play basketball there? Like, do you want to keep playing basketball? And I wanted to, and I knew that Coach Peichel was. I heard like numerous good things about him. I didn't really know him as a human being, but when I had got home, I had the chance to meet him and sit down and basically like introduce myself and tell him about who I was. And he did his research on me and called around. And thankfully, he allowed me to be a part of the program. And I told him from day one, I was like, look, Coach, whatever you need me to do, I'm willing to help the cause. This is the first time in my life where I've signed up for something that really wasn't for my own personal benefit. I
Okay.
want I want to help the cause, and I think that what you're doing here with this program is something really, really special, and I really want to be a part of it in any way, shape, or form. And Coach Pikel gave me a roster spot, man, and to this day, I'm very, very grateful for it. It changed my life for the better. These last 2 years of me being at Rutgers, last year, obviously, I had to sit out. And then this year has been the two best years of my 22 years of life by far. It's not even close. The people I've gotten to meet, the stuff that I've gotten to do, the stuff that I've gotten to experience, like it's like no other, man. And I'm forever going to be grateful for it.
Man, speaking of that, Nick, I feel really bad for you guys, man, because you guys are breaking through to the NCAA tournament for the first time since, what was it, 98, something like that?
91.
91?
We have the longest tenure of not making the tournament out of any team that had a remote chance of making it this year. They did it on Scott Van Pelt, put a graphic up on ESPN the other night when he was interviewing Coach Pikel. And we are the longest team that has not made the tournament that had a chance of getting in this year.
Man. And I mean, look, ladies and gentlemen, I call games out in Rutgers, and I used to love going out there. I didn't love going out there when Pikel wasn't the coach. I'm not going to name names, but it wasn't a particularly pleasant trip because the team struggled to compete at the Big Ten level. But now you go out to the RAC, it's lit. I mean, Rutgers has Jersey lit, and opposing teams, Maryland, Iowa, all these different teams that come in there. It used to be like, oh, well, we got to make this trip. We can win this game. Not now. Rutgers is a legitimate contender in the Big Ten Conference, man. And, Nick, I don't know. I felt bad for you guys, man, because I knew you were getting into the tournament. It was going to be a great celebration for the state. How did you process all that when you all weren't able to, when everything just got shut down?
Well, we were in Indiana. We were in the hotel prepping for a game the night before, like we always do. And we were getting ready to play Michigan, who we were, oh my God, we wanted nobody more than Michigan. Michigan had beat us twice this year. They ruined our perfect home record at the RAC. They're the only team that had beat us at the RAC all year. They beat us in Madison Square Garden 2 weeks before that, which was basically a home game for us. It was about maybe like a 75-25 split of the Michigan fans there. And so we were so juiced up and we were going to get after them. And the night before the game was when they had announced that Rudy Gobert had tested positive for the coronavirus. And then you had the whole epidemic with the Nebraska players being kept in their locker room because everybody thought that Coach Hoiberg had it too because of how he was looking on the bench. And then I was watching TV in my hotel room. It was me and Ron. We were watching TV and we were looking at the Jazz Thunder game, and they were literally just getting ready to throw the ball up. And the team doctor from the Utah Jazz comes running out onto the court to the three officials at the scores table and says, "We can't play this game."
Oh, you actually saw it, Nick?
I saw it. Yeah, we saw it on live TV. And me and Ron, because Ron was my roommate, and we were looking at each other like, what is going on? And then that's when they basically had announced over the PA system that the game wasn't going to happen because one of the players had tested positive for the virus. And I looked at Ron, and me and Ron kind of looked at each other because we knew that, like, all right, man, like, they're like, this game isn't happening. Like, they're going to suspend the rest of the season. And sure enough, like 5 minutes later, it came across the ticker at the bottom of ESPN. NBA has suspended the rest of the year. These last NBA games tonight will be the last games of the season until further notice. And when that happened, we kind of knew like what was going to happen next after that. They had already announced that March Madness wasn't going to have any fans, and that kind of took the air out of our sail a little bit because, you know, we were like, oh, well, now we're not going to get the full experience of it. And then once the NBA had canceled their season, I knew in the back of my head that we were next.
Mm-hmm.
There was no way, because if the NBA is going to shut down their organization because they don't want to risk the health of any of their players, then the NCAA is probably going to do the same thing. You don't know who might have it or who might not have it and who the germs could spread to afterwards. So I told Ron, I was like, Ron, you know, we're going to get up tomorrow morning and we're going to eat breakfast and we're going to go through the same thing that the Thunder and the Jazz went through tonight. We're going to go there. We're going to get on the court. We're going to warm up. And then right before the game starts, they're going to cancel the game. So the NCAA had a meeting the day we played Michigan. They had a meeting at 9:30. And I guess it ended around 11:15-ish. Yeah. So I was like, this is perfect timing. You know, they're gonna decide to cancel the rest of the tournament, and we're gonna get there and warm up like we're actually getting ready to play the game, and then we're gonna find out that there's not gonna be a game to be played. Sure enough, we leave the hotel. We go to Bankers Life Fieldhouse. We pull up to the garage. The bus pulls into the lobby. We're getting out. We're going into the locker room. And we get on the court. We go through our normal warm-up. There's no fans in the arena. It's completely empty. There's maybe like a few team personnel members, but other than that, there's nobody there. It's empty. Actually, Andy Katz put like a video on his Instagram that pretty much like entiles like what the atmosphere looked like. It looks like a scrimmage. It looks like a controlled scrimmage in an NBA arena. And literally you see nothing but just the teams on the court warming up and like maybe some managers. So I think the clock had gotten down to like 13 minutes and we had went back in the locker room. Coach Pico had addressed us and, you know, he basically like we were all hyped up. We were ready to go out there and get after it. And there was like 13 minutes and like 47 seconds on the clock or something like that. And these three women walk out to half court. And they basically say, like, guys, you got to go back to your locker rooms. So I knew what was going on. I could hear other people like, why do we have to go back to our locker rooms? The game's getting ready to start. We've already been in the locker room like twice already. Mm-hmm. They just said, I don't know, guys. Our supervisors basically just told us that we need you guys to report back to your locker rooms. So everybody walks back into the locker room, and we kind of already knew what was coming. Coach Pico and our athletic director, Pat Hobbs, were on the phone with the commissioner of the Big Ten in the coaches section of the locker room. And literally, as soon as they walked out of the door, like they had this look on their face like, you know, somebody had just died. Mm-hmm. And they were getting ready to tell us. And Coach Pico normally doesn't hesitate to address us when in team meetings and stuff like that. But this is the first time I saw, like, he didn't even want to, like, say anything. He let our athletic director, Pat Hobbs, tell us what the verdict was. And guys were really upset, especially our seniors. Like, Joey, Shaq, Quasi, like, they were really upset because, obviously, this is their last go-around. Sure. And I felt bad for them. And, you know, that was before they had decided to cancel March Madness. Like, they had just said the rest of the big tournament is canceled. So in the back of our head, like, we knew what was coming next, but like there was still like that little small ounce of hope that maybe like, you know, the tournament won't get canceled and we'll get to experience it. But guys were definitely upset about it, man. So Coach Pico had told us what was going on. We were in the locker room at Bankers Life, and we got ready to leave to go back to the hotel because when we had left to go to Indiana, we didn't plan on leaving until Sunday.
Yep, you packed for a championship. That's right.
We were like, look, if you don't plan on staying here till Sunday, stay in New Jersey.
That's right.
So we were like, look, we're leaving. I think we left on Tuesday night, got there Tuesday night. We're like, we're not leaving until Sunday. So when the game had got canceled on Thursday, Coach Pico was like, all right, well, I mean, I guess we're going to try to fly home today because, you know, there's obviously no point in us staying here. When we had flew, by the time we had landed in New Jersey that evening, our phones were just blowing up with the notifications that there was going to be no March Madness. And it was like a really somber feeling. Guys were really quiet. Nobody really said anything, and it was just upsetting, man. Like, the fact that we had worked so hard this year to achieve our goal. In our film room in our practice facility, we wrote 3/15/20, which is the date of selection Sunday. That date has been up there since we got back from Spain in August.
Really?
We had wrote it on the whiteboard in our practice facility. It says 3/15/20, and underneath it says mission dance.
Okay.
It's been up there since August, and like every day, like whenever like we started to like teeter away from that goal, like we always remind each other, like, look at the board, like that's what, like, remember what we're really here for. This is what it's all about. It's not about individual wants, needs, and goals. Like, it's about the team, because
Right.
if the team succeeds, then we're all gonna succeed. So it hurt, man, because we knew that after we had beat Purdue, like we were in. After we had beat Purdue at Mackey Arena on their senior night, we knew that we were in. So it really hurt. But I think we could all walk away from this knowing that when Coach Pico first took the job here at Rutgers, we were a laughingstock. People didn't respect us whatsoever. And, Gio would always say that a lot. We would have team meetings, and Gio would always say, like, oh, I'm tired of people, like, laughing at us. Like, it's not funny.
Nick's referring to Geo Baker of Rutgers, one of the better guards in the Big Ten Conference. Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, Gio, like, would always be, like, so upset about that. Like, I would, like, I don't appreciate when people go on Twitter and say that, like, they're laughing at us because, people are saying that Coach Pico isn't the right guy for this job, or, saying that we're the worst Power 5 basketball program over the last 20 years. Like, that pissed us off. Like, it made us angry. And we were tired of that, man. So we buckled down and grouped together, and we did something about it. And, the fact that, like, we don't get to solidify our goal by hearing our name called, like, that hurts. But at the same time, we know that, like, no one's ever going to look at us some type of way or take us lightly ever again.
That's true.
We're playing against Duke or God knows who else. Everybody in the country knows that, we're here now. Like, we are no one to be joked with. And I think that that's something that this group can walk away and feel proud about, because nobody ever really expected it. I put on my Instagram when we got a few days after we got back from Indiana. I put a picture on my Instagram that basically, like, entailed how I was feeling to a certain degree. I really don't like using social media to express my feelings, but I felt like this kind of called for it. And I made sure that I put in there that, everybody thought that, that this wasn't going to be our year. We were picked 12th in the Big Ten preseason.
I remember.
We were supposed to finish third to last, especially because we had one last-minute departure in June. Everybody thought that, our chances of going to the tournament were just out the window at that point. We proved all those people wrong, and we finished tied for 5th when we were supposed to be 12th. We won 20 games this year. Rutgers has not had a 20-win season, I think, since 2002.
Sounds
maybe.
Right.
Yep. It's about 2002. I might be wrong. Our SID is probably going to have to fact check me on that. But just everything that we got to accomplish this year, we sold out pretty much every home game. I remember when people they were basically giving away tickets for free. Now people are fighting for tickets.
Yeah.
And reselling them for like $800-900. That's ridiculous. The rack is like become like a sauna almost. There's so many people in there that, like, it's so hot and it's so uncomfortable for away teams to play. I think that everything that we did this year as a group, we can definitely be proud of it, man. Regardless of how it ended, nobody can take away from us what we did throughout the regular season.
For sure. So tell me, Nick, give our viewers a sense of what it's like to play for Steve Pico. I love the dude. I love Coach Pico. I love his energy. I love his message. He'll get after you if he needs to, but he seems to be very uplifting. Can you give us a glimpse of what it's like to play for Steve Pico?
Coach Pico's a great guy. And obviously, like, people will probably look at me and be like, well, he's your coach. You're supposed to say that. But I'll tell you this, Coach Peichel, even though Coach Peichel is really energetic, he's very, very forgiving. And he's very forgiving and he's very accepting. I told Coach Peichel, I was like, Coach, you make more money than all my other coaches combined, and you're probably the nicest coach out of all of them. He was like, he's like, should I be worried about that? I was like, nah, Coach. I mean, we're winning games. So, I mean, clearly it's working.
Right.
But Coach Peichel's a great guy, man. He's very energetic. And because he's so energetic, that rubs off on us as players. It's hard to not go out there and, play as hard as you possibly can to the point of exhaustion when your coach is on the sideline, like getting ready. He's doing his own workout on the sideline.
That's true.
He'll be in the stands.
Sweating through his suit.
Every game he'll be sweating, he'll be in a stance, he'll be clapping his hands like he's out there playing himself, and that rubs off on us, man. So he's Coach Peichel's a really good coach, and I'm just obviously, like, I think, again, I might be biased, but I think he should have been Big Ten Coach of the Year, with all due respect to Greg Gard in Wisconsin. But obviously Coach Peichel, what he's done in the last 4 years since he took control of the program here at Rutgers, and the fact that by year 4 we were dancing when people probably didn't expect it till like year 5 or 6, that's incredible. And then to have a last-minute departure of your leading scorer, rebounder, and minutes played per game to leave at the last minute and still make the tournament the next year, I don't see how Coach Peichel couldn't have been Big Ten Coach of the Year. But, I mean, it is what it is. He and on top of that, our assistant coaches, his staff, Coach Hobbs, B. Knight, Coach Hain, I'll even throw Coach Young's name in there because before he decided to become the head coach at Fairfield, he's responsible for a lot of the development of the guys that are on the team right now.
Okay.
So I think he deserves some credit as well. But the fact that we have a great staff too, on top of Coach Peichel, it's not just Coach Peichel. The head coach obviously is in charge of the ship, but his assistant coaches serve, a great deal. They deserve a great deal of credit for how much time they put in too. They're always in there watching film. And I think the one thing that's unique about our coaching staff is that they always have an open door policy. I'm a walk-on at Rutgers, but I can go and knock on Coach Peichel's door and talk to him about life, talk to him about basketball. And Coach Peichel's a busy man. It's hard to get on Coach Peichel's calendar,
Sure.
But he'll make time for any one of his players. And I think that's really what separates him from other coaches. And not just him, all our coaches are like that.
Very well said, Nick. Who are the guys that you hang around with the most on the team? Like, who's your clique?
I don't really think we have cliques. I think everybody hangs out with everybody.
Okay.
So, I mean, obviously we have roommates. So you might spend more time with your roommate than you might with like other people on the team. But like when we're all together as a group, there isn't any like, oh, there might be 4 of us over here and then 6 of us over there and then another 5 of us over there. Like, no, it doesn't work that way. Like we're all together and we all spend time together and we all joke and laugh. And, it really is a close-knit group, man. I've played for a lot of teams in the past. And I think that this team is like really like, every team brings it in at the end of practice and puts their hands in and says, all right, guys, family on 3. But like, I think that this team really embodied that meaning of family. Like, I think that after our careers are done and after we leave Rutgers, I think that everybody in this group is going to be able to have like a long-lasting, lifelong friendship with every other person in the locker room. And I think that's beautiful, man. That's probably why we were so successful. It's because we all were like really, really close off the court.
Okay. Who's the funniest guy on the team?
Funniest guy on the team. It's a tie between Montez and Caleb.
Okay.
They are hilarious.
Montez, because he doesn't appear like, I know you guys you got to be careful and you got to like keep your decorum a certain way. But Montez Mathis doesn't seem to be a guy that talks a lot, but he's funny, huh?
No, Montez and Caleb are hilarious. Like they could probably like go on a comedy tour the two of them, and like probably sell out a venue. They are hilarious. Even though Montez doesn't look like it because he doesn't talk, but he's funny. Trust me, he's hilarious.
Okay. Who would you say is the best cook on the team?
Oh, wow. We have a few good cooks. Shaq Carter can cook.
Shaq Carter?
Shaq Carter can cook.
Oh,
But
wow.
at the same time, Duke can cook too. Mamadou Ducour, he can cook.
Okay.
Quasi can cook a little bit, and so can Miles. So we got a few good cooks on the team. But if I had to give it to somebody, it'd probably be Shaq or Duke. They can throw down in the kitchen.
Now, see, this is interesting, Nick, because the guys you name, Mamadou is 6'9", Shaq Carter's 6'8", Miles is 6'10", right? So all the big men have all the culinary skills. What are the skill set that the guards have then? What can the guards do that the bigs can't do?
What can the guards do that the bigs can't do?
I mean,
Wow.
'cause I follow Geo Baker a little bit. He appears like he's maybe the, kind of the sharp cat, kind of the guy that's got the lady's eye type of thing. Is that accurate?
Yeah, Gio, a smooth operator.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's a good one for the guards. We're more entertaining than the bigs are.
Okay.
We got the entertainment factor. They can have the talent in the kitchen. We're the more funny. If we would have the reality TV show.
I like that. Okay. And then who on your team, in your opinion, like outside of basketball, would be the most successful and why?
Wow. Outside of basketball, probably Joey Downs. Joey's a walk-on from Massachusetts. He was a senior this year. Joey has the highest GPA on the team. He's got like a 3.8 GPA. He's
Okay.
like all Big Ten academic honors all 4 years he's been at Rutgers.
Wow.
He wants to go into filmmaking, like movie making and producing. That's what Joey wants to do after he gets done with his undergrad. But I think that Joey's like he's like the model citizen for a Rutgers athlete. Like if you wanted to like this is what a Rutgers athlete should look like, then you would put a picture of Joey up there and then like list all his accomplishments and like what he does for the community. He's involved in like all types of charities.
Oh, wow.
He's got a very attractive resume. What's funny, me and Joey are actually going to start a podcast together. We're actually going to start a podcast in the midst of being quarantined in our house.
Okay.
We're just trying to gather all the topics of what we're going to talk about and see which guests we're going to have on the show.
Well, shoot me a link. I want to check that out.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
So, Nick, after your playing career is over, what would you like to do?
I think what I'm going to try to do after I get finished with my undergrad is I might go to grad school, try to be a grad assistant. I always told Coach Peichel that I could never do his job because, but I don't know, the more time I spend around the game, coaching doesn't seem too far-fetched for me. So I don't know, maybe. I know that the next step of my career after I get finished with my undergrad is to go be a grad assistant. So that's going to be the next step. And then once I cross that bridge, I'll move on to the next chapter of my life. I want to stay in basketball as long as I can, though. My dream is to be like a GM at the NBA level or a director of ops, deal with trading guys, drafting guys, negotiating contracts, stuff like that. I always found that to be a pretty attractive gig, but that and either that or going into broadcasting, man. I told you when I first met you, man, I was a big fan of seeing you on TV every night, mainly because you give us the credit we deserve. No, it's kind of hard to find an announcer that, gives Rutgers the props they deserve on national TV. But every time I saw you on there, man, it definitely, you definitely gave us the credit that we felt we deserved. Like, yeah, this guy knows what he's talking about. So definitely broadcasting has been another dream of mine. So either staying in basketball or hopefully being in front of the TV with a microphone like my man, Stephen Bardo.
Okay. Well, I think you've given yourself a good demo shot here. You've conducted yourself well. You've been very forthcoming with the information, and I really appreciate it. Nick, where can people find you? Where can they follow you on social media?
My at name on all handles is Nick Brooks with 2 K's and 2 S's. So NickBrooks. Nick Brooks, like spelled the right way was taken. So I had to improvise a little bit, get a little tweak my at name a little bit. But you can follow me on IG, on Twitter, on anything really. My handle name is the same on all networks, just Nick Brooks with 2 K's and 2 S's.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you can follow Nick Brooks there on his social media platforms, and also next season for Rutgers men's basketball, because it ought to be another exciting year. Nick, thanks so much for taking the time, man. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely, my man. Thank you for having me. Be well.
You as well. That'll do it for this edition of Bartle's Breakdown. Make sure you come back to the page, because every day we'll have interesting guests like Nick, and we'll also go live and do some different things, because we're going to get through this coronavirus situation together. So until next time, peace.